should take it another step. I always say I want to make you rich. What I really should say is I want to make it so that you have enough money to retire. You have enough money to be able to pay down your student debt. You have enough money to augment your paycheck. Because what my goal is to make a person so that they can be who they want to be. And in our society, Donnie, it takes money to do that. The freedom comes from money.
Welcome to On Brand with Donny Deutsch. I am Donny Deutsch, and this is the podcast dedicated to a simple premise that today everybody and everything is a brand. Every celebrity, every athlete, every politician, every product, every corporation, every movement, every religion. Everything today is a brand. Everything is a set of values. That's what a brand is. Look, if you've got a Facebook or an Instagram page and you've got images on it and statements and things, that's your brand. You're putting a brand out there. So everybody's a brand today. So what we do on the show is we go through what we call the brands of the week, the brands that are kind of setting the zeitgeist, which brands are up, which brands are down based on the week, based on current events, based on what's going on in the world, how things are going, and which brands are driving in which direction. And we also do a big interview with our iconic brand. And this week, it's the one and only Jim Cramer. Jim is, of course, the host of Mad Money. He is kind of the everyman's guru on Wall Street and everything stocks. He's got a lot to say. His personal story is incredible. He was homeless, sleeping in a car. And of course, you know Jim Cramer from Mad Money, and he is outrageous and fun and one of the best guys around. You're going to really enjoy his interview. But first, our brands of the week. First up is Jay-Z. Jay-Z and Fanatics, and Michael Cohen is the CEO of Fanatics. Now, Fanatics, you probably know, is the largest kind of online merchandiser of sports gear, you know, if you want any jerseys and things like that. And Jay-Z is invested, and then there's a new round of financing that they're now going into sports gambling. So these guys are so smart. They realize, look, we've got, 40, 60, 80 million eyeballs on us buying sports gear. We're a better place to get into sports gaming. And just this move, this new round of financing they did is valued the company at $18 billion. Jay-Z is a part of it. And, the companies are smart. They know to get guys like Jay-Z involved because it just gives it a patina of sexiness and relevantness. And Jay-Z seems to be very smart in getting in bed with all the right business people. So a brand up for Michael Rubin and Fanatics, and for Jay-Z, who everything he touches seems to turn to gold. Brand up for Pete Buttigieg and his husband, Chasen. They're becoming parents. They're overjoyed. They are becoming dads. Of course, Pete was the first gay presidential candidate. It almost seems weird that we even have to say that anymore. I look forward to the point, and look, I think we're going to see a lot more of Pete Buttigieg. He's of course the transportation secretary. I had the privilege of interviewing him a few times on my Saturday night MSNBC show. What a class act! What a smart guy. He is, I think, the future, not the future, but certainly a part of the future of the Democratic Party. And he and his husband Chasen have become dads. So congratulations. Big brand up for Pete Buttigieg and the job he's doing in transportation. Obviously, he was very involved in the infrastructure package, so we got to give him a brand up. Brand down for Barbra Streisand. First time brand Barbra Streisand on the show. She's blasting Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, Star is Born, as it's unoriginal. She says, it's like the version that I did in 1976. Well, yours was a remake also. She said that at first, when I heard it was going to be done again, it was supposed to be Will Smith and Beyonce. I thought that was interesting. But she said it was just too much like theirs. There was a 1937 version of a film that starred Janet Gaynor and Frederick March. There was a 1954 remake with Judy Garland, James Mason. And what I hate athletes who talk about, well, the athletes, today they're not as good as you got to be, as you age, you got to be graceful, and that all that are coming after us, we must be gracious and never do it was better when. It's not a good look. And for Barbra Streisand, and by the way, the movie was great. You could not, I don't know how you couldn't love that movie. Gaga was great. Bradley Cooper was great. But for her to come out and say, well, and the remake was too close to our remake, kind of sour grapes, Barbara. Come on, man, you're above that. A brand up for Michael Keaton, one of my favorite actors of all time. He's a big MSNBC watcher also. He stopped me in a restaurant once and we got to talking. Great guy. He's the star of Marvel and DC films, of course. He was the first Batman, was there for 2 seasons, and afterwards bailed. There was a lot of heat he took a lot of crap when Tim Burton first chose him, because he wasn't what was seen as the prototypical, I guess, what the fans had in their mind. In the end, he was, because he played that kind of twisted, it was just great. He was the best one. And he's making his highly anticipated return of Batman in The Flash, well as a return as the Vulture in the Marvel film Morbius. It's interesting. He talked also a lot about that. He hasn't really watched any of the films since he did it. He hasn't been involved in watching any of them. He hasn't been a fan of it, but he's coming back as Batman. And I'm not a superhero movie guy, but I will pay to see that. I think Michael Keaton is one of our best actors of all time. A big brand up for Amazon, a benchmark for Amazon. And this is all you need to know about bricks and mortar versus online shopping. People now spend more at Amazon than at Walmart. Yep. For the first time, it's eclipsed Walmart to become the world's largest retail seller outside of China. Alibaba, of course, is the one in China, but it is the biggest. But it's propelled in part by surging demand in the pandemic. People spent more than $610 billion on Amazon in the 12 months ending June. Walmart posted $566 million over the same period. The giant Alibaba, as I said, is the world's top seller. And neither Amazon or Walmart is dominant in China. That explains that. Amazon has added over 500,000 workers, but this hasn't gotten enough attention. I mean, we obviously know that Amazon and online shopping is the future, but it is a kind of a watershed moment passing Walmart. Walmart is America's bricks and retail. And look, they have done and have continued to do it better than anybody. Let's not shed any tears for Walmart, but Amazon passes Walmart, selling more stuff than Walmart. A brand up with a caveat I want to do for Old Navy. Old Navy is promising inclusive fashion revolution by offering all apparel in all sizes. Old Navy is promising to carry all apparel styles in every size, ranging from XS to 4X for the same price. Basically, sizes 0 to 28, all in the same part in the stores. I guess previously in the stores, you would go for petites in one area, large size in another area. They're putting it all together. They want everybody's shopping experience to be the same. They are basically stressing a body quality. They're using Saturday Night Live actress Aidy Bryant. And the campaign is an open letter shared across digital platform and invites women to what Old Navy is calling the fashion revolution. And you have women of all shapes and sizes. This is not new. This is what every retailer, every fashion apparel, health and beauty aids company is doing, that all the research shows that, women want to see real depictions of what they look like as opposed to, supermodel images. And I wonder if this is permanent or this is a trend. This is a kind of a reaction to just a political correctness, for lack of another thing, or inclusiveness. Political correctness is the wrong word, because there's an overzealousness for marketers, as well they should, to be inclusive. But I wonder if in time there's something still to be said that we all want. If I'm a guy and I'm looking, this is me personally, and I'm looking at a man's fashion ad, I don't necessarily want to see a guy like me with a little pouch stomach. I want to see a beefy dude, because maybe that's what I'm going to look like. And there's something to be said for aspiration. I am going to take a lot of shit from this because it's still not real. It's why most of our movie stars tend to be beautiful and handsome. And I just wonder if some of these marketers are going to overcorrect. I don't know. It's the right thing to do, obviously, from a humanity point of view. It makes us all feel good. I just wonder, in the marketplace, whether if consumers want to admit it or not, do they still want a little bit of the aspirational fantasy when it comes to fashion, when it comes to health and beauty and things like that? We'll see. Because certainly the Old Navy is doing what many, many, many marketers are doing. I know Dove has done it well. So we will see. We will watch. A brand up for Tesla, and actually a company that is working is called Stream. Seems that Tesla is coming out with their Cybertruck, and for $50,000, there's a company that can turn the Cybertruck into an RV. This is interesting. This company, Stream, says that's right. A tech company is now making a pickup truck campers or Cyberlanders. Think of it as a pop-up camper. Basically, let's start with the kitchen, which has all the basic necessities and a tech-forward twist, like a voice-controlled smart faucet, refrigerator, or porcelain countertop. The living room is right next to the kitchen. So basically what this is for $50,000, you can take the Tesla Cybertruck and turn it into an RV. It's just all these things they put on it that, like, just in a very artificial intelligence kind of way, turns it into a little home. The living room also transforms into a bedroom. All you have to do is unfold the seats into a roughly queen-size beds. So they're going to trick out your Tesla Cybertruck and turn it into a super super RV. They've already sold $100 million worth. There's a waiting list. The company is called Stream It. Lance King, the CEO, seems to be a smart guy. Very interesting. So it's a SUV Cybertruck that turns into a camper. There you go. A brand down for gas stations. Look, as electric vehicles continue to kind of grow, there's a town that's become the first in America that's going to ban the building of all new gas stations. It's in Sonoma County. Of course, it's in California now. California now has the highest rates of electric vehicles. Close to 11% of all new car sales were electric in the first 3 months. And this town in Petaluma in Sonoma County is the first U.S. city to ban future gas station construction or any new pumps on existing sites. They're realizing, okay, it's going electric. We don't want to promote any more gas stations. Interestingly, nationally, just 2% of new car sales in 2020 were plug-in compared to Norway, which has 75% electric cars in Norway. Isn't it amazing how some of these companies, some of these countries, these Scandinavian countries can get it right before us? 3/4 of electric cars now. Can you imagine what that's doing for the air there and the pollution or lack of pollution there? Number of gas stations in this country is declining. There were more than 200,000 in 94. They're getting less of them, but they're getting bigger because now all the gas stations, there's so many of them serve food and convenience items. But the beginning of the end of gas stations, there you go. The Cola Wars. Pepsi, a brand up for Pepsi. Balls move here. Pepsi is reimbursing Coke drinkers who dislike new Coke Zero sugar recipe. Earlier this summer, Coke announced it was completely revamping Coke Zero, and unveiled this new line of packaging. Now Pepsi, what they're doing is they've unveiled it's essentially paying anyone who has had a falling out with Coke over their new zero sugar recipe. Trying to convince you to switch sides, Pepsi is giving consumers a 20-ounce bottle of Pepsi Zero Sugar to help cool things over. Use the hashtag MyCokeBreakup. Pepsi will surprise participants' new campaign with coupons for free 12-pack of Pepsi Zero Sugar. Very smart. Coke's trading their recipe. Might be a time a user might taste it and go, I don't know, this, because people are brand loyal. If you're drinking a Coke, you're drinking a Coke. But all of a sudden they change the formulation and it's like you get a bad meal at a restaurant and they taste it, not so good. Pepsi's standing right there. We'll give you a free one to try it. Smart move by Pepsi, bringing up the old Cola Wars. Molson Coors, brand up, and for Dwayne Johnson's Zoa Energy. Molson Coors is moving beyond beer. You know, all the beer companies, beer business is going down. The beer category was down about 3% last year. So obviously the beer companies, I've talked about this on the show, getting into hard seltzer and other places. They're getting into, with Dwayne Johnson, he's got his Zoa Energy. They sell it as a more natural energy drink. And what's so smart, what you're seeing, well, Dwayne Johnson has 260 million Instagram followers, 260 million. So he promotes it on there already. And that's why these celebrities, they are so much more marketable than whatever they do before. It's not, you don't have to wait to see them in a 30-second commercial. They've got obviously their own networks, 260 million. So smart move by Molson Coors, getting in bed with Dwayne Johnson's Zoa Energy. A brand up, actually a huge brand down, but kind of a brand up in a weird way. The worst cheap beer in America, customers say in a new survey, this is in Yahoo News, is Milwaukee's Best. So that's the worst out of all the cheap beers. They say that one sucks the most, which I kind of think you can turn as a marketer into a weird prestige thing. Like you want that real gritty beer, man. You want that real down. Well, we're the winner, man. We were voted world's worst cheap beer. Second was Natural Ice. Third was Keystone. Fourth was Busch. Fifth was Lighthouse. And sixth was Budweiser. Okay, brand up for tree houses. That's right. Tree houses are getting, some of this shit is just nuts, is getting booked by wealthy travelers. Travelers looking for a vacation, great outdoors are turning to a nostalgic source for comfort and solitude. Tree houses that are built for people to live in now average around $240,000, according to Home Advisor. Basically, they incorporate cool entrances, gated walkways, stone staircases, ramps built for wheelchairs. There's one such treehouse is the Shade Tree Rest Treehouse in upstate New York, which is accessible via a 60-foot footbridge that begins in a heart-shaped gate. So just like everything, there's a high end for everything. Tree houses now. You not know where to go on your next vacation? Think about a nice tree house. What the fuck? And this is interesting. A brand, I don't know, for hotels. They're doing a lot of what airlines are doing now. Now they're trying out fees for using the pool and checking out early or checking in late. Just like the airlines now, you want, to bring on extra luggage, or you want a drink or whatever it is, you pay extra. So now some of the hotel owners are experimenting with, basically, if you want to use the pool, it's $25. If you want an early check-in, it costs $20. And I don't know, I just like it's kind of really damaged the airline experience. And I know, look, hotels, particularly post-pandemic, have got to do whatever they can to stay in business and help themselves. But certainly kicking, I think, the hotel experience a bit in the stomach to go there and to just, I don't know, just taking any romance out of staying in hotels, just like they've done with flying in airplanes. And finally, based on the latest census, the fastest growing metro area in the U.S. is actually a retirement community. That's right. It's basically this is just amazing. It's called The Villages, and it's one of the most popular retirement communities in the country. It's down in Florida. It's basically grew by 39% in a decade, from 93,000 to 130,000 people. So a retirement village is the fastest growing considered city in this country. And just while I finally wrap up, the 10 largest cities in the country in the U.S. Census, there's a couple of surprises here. New York, LA, Chicago, not surprising. 4 and 5. Houston is 4. And Phoenix now tops Philadelphia. Phoenix is the 5th, brand up for Phoenix, 5th biggest city in this country now, followed by Philly. And then San Antonio. Who would have thought? San Diego, Dallas, and San Jose, all obviously Sun Belt, but this is incredible. It's no longer, you don't see Boston in there. You don't see Detroit. You see San Jose, you see San Antonio, you see San Diego. No surprise there, Dallas. But Phoenix at number 5. And those are our brands of the week. Now let's get to our interview with the great Jim Cramer. Jim is, of course, the host of Mad Money. He is picking stocks and telling you where the market's going for the everyman. He's got an incredible story. If you have any interest in where business is going, where the economy is going, or a rags to riches story, you want to hear about Jim Cramer. So here's my interview with Jim. Okay, I want to talk to you about Truebill. And this is something you really got to get. When you hear me talk about it, you're going to understand. What do you think you spend on subscriptions a month? All subscriptions. Most of us think we spend about $80 a month, but we actually spend, the average is $200 a month. And somehow everything in our lives has turned into subscriptions, from TV channels to the gym to food delivery, personal care products. And these recurring monthly charges add up without you knowing it. So it's time to save with Truebill. Basically, it's the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot about. On average, people save thousands a year with Truebill. See all your prescriptions in one place, keep the ones you want, cancel the ones you don't, right from the app. And your Truebill concierge is where you need, and your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions, so you don't have to. No talking to humans, no difficult conversations. So this is great. You see all your subscriptions in one place. You see the ones you want. You see the ones you don't want. It's easy to kind of forget about some of them, and you're paying every month. This does it. This is fantastic. Truebill has over 2 million users and helps save them over $100 million. Start canceling your unused subscriptions at truebill.com/onbrand. Go right now. That's Truebill, TRUEBILL.com/onbrand. It could save you hundreds a year. Truebill, TRUEBILL.com/onbrand. This is a really good product, this Truebill thing. It's going to save you money. Truebill. Okay, I want to talk to small business owners, startups, freelancers, entrepreneurs. Do you know the number one way to avoid unfair bank fees? Well, the first one is close out your account, and the second is open a new Novo free business banking account. This is really great, guys. Novo is the number one business banking app because it's built from the ground up to be powerfully simple and free business banking that Money Magazine called the best business checking account of 2021. With Novo, there are no minimum balances, no transaction limits, no hidden fees. Sign up for free in under 10 minutes at banknovo.com/Donny. Then they'll mail you a Novo debit card and you get free ATM use. Novo makes banking easy and secure. Manage account at Novo's customized web, Android. And I'm telling you guys, this is really smart, okay? Do it. Novo seamlessly integrates with most leading business tools and services like Stripe, Shopify, QuickBooks, and more. Plus, Novo offers $5,000 in perks and discounts just for signing up. Okay, guys, here's the deal. Get your free business banking account in just 10 minutes at banknovo.com/onbrand. Go to banknovo, NOVO.com/onbrand to sign up free right now to get a free copy of Novo's Small Business Starter Guide. Banknovo, NOVO.com/onbrand. Guys, if you are a small business, you're an entrepreneur, you're a startup, you're a freelancer, this is the way, this is the smart way to bank. Go to banknovo.com/onbrand. I am thrilled at today's guest, one of my favorite people, one of the best guys anywhere, such an important figure in our culture. He is the host, of course, of Mad Money, which I think on CNBC, which is going on 15, 16 years now, host of Squawk on the Street, founder of The Street, the one, the only Jim Cramer. Welcome, my friend.
Oh, Donny, thank you for having me. Cultural icon, that's you. I am thrilled that you wanted me on this show because it tells me that I still have the zeitgeist. I still have I'm still in the game because you define the game.
That's great. You more than ever. We're going to talk about why more than ever you are in the zeitgeist, because what's happening now with the democratization of investing and everything that we're going through with Robinhood, whatnot, you were kind of the pioneer of that. We're going to get to that in a second. You were the guy that was making investing and the stock market kind of to just the little guy out there. And that's been your raison d'etre.
Absolutely, Donny, and I'm so glad you pointed that out. I mean, even Dave Portnoy, my friend from Barstool, said, listen, you were the first guy that was willing to break some eggs. You were the first guy who was willing to shake things up. And I was thrilled that he said, listen, I'm taking it to the next step. I've done you did the pioneer work. And I was like, wow, okay. Donny, people are getting it. I am about the little guy. I am not against the little guy. I am not a hedge fund manager. I'm trying to help people make money. The little people who are I know aren't little the same way they're not little. They're people. That's all.
Yeah. So that, the premise of the show is that everything is a brand. Every celebrity, every business, anybody that's got a Facebook page is a brand. So tell me, as you see it, what is the Jim Cramer brand?
The Jim Cramer brand is about trying to educate and entertain to teach you how to buy or sell a stock. So you stole my democratization rap, but my goal, who I am, is a $sign represented by a man. All right, so that's the cynical way to look at me. But the $sign trying to help others. And I feel very strongly that my brand is about making people rich. I don't have any qualms about saying that. My goal is to make you rich. And if I succeed, you succeed. So I don't mind. I have no buzz about what I'm trying to do, Donny. I mean, it's about money. And I'm trying to make people a lot of money.
I'm going to take it one step further. Yes, I think it's even bigger than that. You're trying to help people be better. Because money, if you really think about it, yes, you're trying to help them make more money. But by them making more money, they can do more things. They can help their family more. They can go after their dreams more. So money is the vehicle, but you are an optimistic dream maker at the end of the day. You're somebody who is going to take people by the hand and help them enrich, not literally, but figuratively enrich their lives. And you do it, the literal part is the money part, but the figurative part is the bigger part. And so that, to me, your brand even goes to a bigger place.
Well, you know what? You're the brand guy. And when I was thinking before I put out my words just now, I kind of wanted to give you my rap so you could succinctly say what it is, because that's what you're so good at. And I actually feel inspired by just the way you put it, because I should take it another step. I always say I want to make you rich. What I really should say is I want to make it so that you have enough money to retire. You have enough money to be able to pay down your student debt. You have enough money to augment your paycheck. Because my goal is to make a person so that they can be who they want to be. And in our society, Donny, it takes money to do that. The freedom comes from money. Your colossal freedom to tell the truth, I think, stems from your personality, but also because you've got the wherewithal, because you've got the firepower that comes from money. And we have to admit that. I am never shy about talking about money, Donnie, because it is my career. Hey, my career is not about travel, and it's not about leisure, and it's not about history. As much as I like history, it's not about teaching English. It's about teaching money and getting it so people are educated enough to be able to make a lot of money. I don't want to do it for them. I don't want their money. I don't want to take a percentage of it. I want them to be better at it. Donnie, if I get them better at it, I promise you they'll make more money.
You talked about money gets you power, and you were a nice compliment. You said that I do get to speak my mind now. I've morphed into, I speak a lot about politics on MSNBC, and I say things because I'm not worried about losing my day job. I find that I'm in a position to speak truth to power. I was able to go after Trump in certain ways. I don't want to get deep into politics here, in a way that, even the network, I think, got a little nervous about, because I'm not worried. And there is money obviously gets you stuff, but it also gets you freedom of fear, that you're not afraid of repercussions because you have that safety net. So I do appreciate it. I want to go back a little bit, because your story is an inspirational one, and not everybody knows it. I want to go back to the kid selling at the vet. You were selling, you were vending. What were you selling there, buddy? Ice cream?
Hey, I got ice cream, vanilla and chocolate. Hey, I got ice cream. And Johnny, when you're selling ice cream, you better hope that the game doesn't end fast. Because if a game ends fast, you're stuck with vanilla and chocolate. So nobody sold faster than I did. What I did was pay other vendors to not come into my area. So I had a monopoly. Early on, I realized the value of a monopoly. Because, wow, if you can get it in business, you can get it selling ice cream.
That's amazing. What else are you? Okay, you can't have any more direct sales than, so here, I got something in my case here. I got an audience in front of me, and I got to get you to hand over that buck for this popsicle. So what was the big sales lesson you learned just dealing with people that way?
The big sales lesson, I would say, is be upbeat, stay upbeat, and don't ever flag. So what happens is, when they call you Skip, and they call you Captain, and when they call you partner, get enthusiastic. There's nothing better than a guy says, hey, Captain, I'll take an ice cream. This is where I learned to speak to people on Mad Money. It's like, yo, Chief. They were always chiefing me, Donnie. And you know what? I was proud to be chief. Every time I heard that, what I said was, I got him. And then when they would come back, I'd see him again. I said, hey, man, you called me chief. They would always be like, shocking. I remembered everybody's face. I knew where people sat. And I owned the 700 level.
I love it. That was your term. You also, what people don't understand, and I want you to take me back, because nobody was lower than you. You were at a certain point at a young age. You're literally living out of your Ford Fairmont. You're homeless. You're destitute. First of all, how did you get there? And just take us there. I mean, because the average person who sees you now would not know that.
Kept breaking into my place, Donnie. I mean, the first night I came in, they had unfortunately not flushed the toilet. I'm really good at that. So I was like, shoot, man, I must be getting early onset. The next day I come in, guy had taken a chicken out of my freezer and made it. Talk about enterprise. I called the police immediately. Police came. They said, listen, hey, we'll look around. They look around and they come back and they say, well, listen, we can't find anything. I said, can you dust for fingerprints? And the guy says, what do you think this is, Kojak? They're not my personal bodyguards. They made that point. So then the next day I had to go down and cover Brenda Spencer. She was a serial killer. She was a girl. She said she shot people because of rainy days and Mondays. I got actually paid my horrendous editor-in-chief told me to get past the police line while she's shooting. Live shooter. I thought better of that. I mean, how much could he hate me that he wanted to kill me? So then I come back and there's nothing. There's nothing in my apartment. It's almost like you have to rent the apartment, like broom clean. And he also took my checkbook. He looted that. All I had was what was in the car when I went to cover the assassin. And frankly, that was an extra pair of underwear, a little dop kit, and my Marshall's jacket, which I still had. I kept for years until I wore it at Goldman. They didn't want to burn it. And then I lived in my car. And you know what? I candidly, Donnie, living in my car at that age, not so bad. Not so bad. Because, at that age, you're kind of like, well, when you got nothing to lose. So I kind of had all my belongings in my car, which is unlike what I had in my apartment. And it was a liberating experience because I realized if I could survive through that, there's a lot of lessons in life there, and maybe other things won't be as tough. So I look back and think, not as bad as I thought. Wow. 6 months in the car.
Wow.
Baby powder. Always have baby powder. Axe. Always have a gun. And have Jack Daniels in your mid.
Okay.
But you need all those.
Now, you also were...
Especially the baby powder if you're going to be able to, go out and feel confident.
Okay, but you're in that car, you're drinking, you're kind of in now you're looking back and going, it wasn't so bad, but this is not where you wanted to be. And where was that kind of aha moment where you said, I'm going to get my shit together and I'm going to pull this together and take me through?
Where I had to leave?
Yeah.
Get my life together?
Yeah.
When a doctor told me that I had a yellow stain the size of Greenland, that Mercator projection where Greenland looks larger than the United States, a yellow stain, couldn't get it off. And he said, how often do you drink? I said, pretty often. And he said, well, how do you mean? I said, well, often during the day, often in the morning, often in the afternoon, often in the evening. And he said, okay, so you want to die? I said, no, that's not on my agenda. I don't really want to die. And he said, okay, well, you got to stop drinking until that goes away because that's your liver. That's a jaundiced liver. And I'm like, I said, like the liver? You could actually see that it's jaundiced? It actually gives you like a chance to notice? And he said, yeah, it took me 2 years, Donnie, before it went away. So I wasn't able to drink for 2 years. During that period, I actually stopped liking alcohol. So I was rather at work all the time.
Good for you. And you end up applying to Harvard. You go to Harvard, you go to Goldman Sachs, and you end up in the hedge fund business. What I'm fascinated about is how did you transition? Because you could have been just another guy making billions in your hedge fund. You had, I think you had annualized 24% returns a year. How did you end up going from just another finance guy making money to what I call kind of the messiah, and the way we talked about you earlier, somebody who's, you know what, my mission is to help other people. I'd like to make money also, but my game is to help others make money. Give me that kind of pivot point, because most people don't get out of where you were.
Well, I mean, I quit in large part because I had promised my late mother, that if I ever had enough money, that I could just go do something else, go be a writer. My mother always thought I should be a writer. My father always thought I should go make money because he didn't make any money. So we had one of these situations where once I had made the money, which is then I lived up to my father's expectations, I could then pivot and do what my mom wanted to be, which is to be an artist of sorts, which meant that I could go and be a writer. I had enough money to be a writer. I had the firepower, and it made me much happier. I got to tell you, I hated myself. I hated what I did. All I did was make rich people rich. Rich people. I mean, rich people don't need to get even more rich, but that's what I excel at. I was like Richie Rich, and I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to do it because it meant nothing.
I want to go back to the whole democratization, something that's such a big part of your essence of what's going on in investing. And we saw it happen with what happened with GameStop. I, unfortunately, was in one of the hedge funds that got squeezed. I lost a ton of money. Not me personally. I wasn't investing in GameStop, but I don't want to mention the fund, but I was in one of them. And so I was on the unfortunate side of that. Talk to me about what that meant, what's happening now as the guy who's getting a stimulus check can invest in, and the guy who's spending $1,000 and $500, and the man on the street is kind of beating the man. Tell me about the good, the bad, and the ugly with that.
Sure. Well, one of the things that was odd, it was led by a crowd on known as Wall Street Bets, which is on Reddit, and it was a class struggle. I often described it as if it was kind of a revolution by people who felt that they didn't have a lot of money against the hedge funds. And every time, by the way, if they want to curse me out on Twitter, they say I am a hedge fund manager or that I still work with my hedge fund buddies. I don't have any hedge fund friends. I mean, it's not that I like cherry pick my friends, like saying, well, if you're a hedge fund manager, I don't want to know you. It just happens to be that I don't have any hedge fund friends. I have a lot of other aspects of my life besides just money. Now, what was going on in that particular instance was that they knew that some firms, one firm in particular, was so short the stock that GameStop was that they could squeeze the guy. So it became them versus him. And the MacGuffin, as Hitchcock would say, was the stock. And it was like the company didn't exist. It was just the stock. The stock represented class struggle. They felt that if they could break the man, the stock would fly up. It did, so they won. They got a home run, but instead they had to hold out for a grand slam. And a lot of them are still in there. And it's become, it's almost like it's something that is malicious. It wasn't just enough. They wanted to torture the people. They would have tortured the people had they known them. And I think that was bad. I think it was bad because what they should have done is then try to identify other stocks, find some other things.
Yeah.
Instead, they never moved on other than to AMC, which is Adam Aron's company, the cinema, who used them to be able to raise capital, to be able to stay in business. So on the one hand, they had a terrific hit on GameStop. On the other hand, it was a one-trick pony, Donnie. There was no there was no there. Once you had that short squeeze and that was busted, they should have gone on to some other company and or some other companies, maybe even a portfolio, but they never did.
Yeah.
And because they never did, it really stymied and stifled the revolution. I did not expect that they would only go after GameStop. I was disappointed.
Question. Let me questions on behalf of capitalism. Okay. Now, I say all of a sudden that happened, and yes, it's class warfare, and they were fighting back. Yet you now had a company that if you look at a company where we look at a company on a balance sheet was worth not much, if anything, and now all of a sudden it's worth $26 billion. So is the answer, well, no, now that social media storm is part of what's built into the worth of something, or are we turning the card upside down where you can't even intelligently make investments anymore?
Well, I think that in the GameStop, there is a fellow by the name of Ryan Cohen. He co-founded Chewy. He took a position as an activist, said the company's worth a lot more, then joined the board. He's now going to be chairman. And he was regarded as a savior who is going to turn GameStop into the next Chewy. Without any real story of how he's going to do it. They have 5,000 stores. They are a company that sells video games, but the best way to get a video game is because they're digitized, is to download it yourself. They've got some other stuff in there, swag. Cohen says that, look, it's physical and he's going to turn it into digital. Well, that's great. We don't know his plan. He's trying to oust the CEO. But at all times, I think the stock, which had gone from 5 to 1.400, is, I don't want to say it's overvalued, but unless we know Ryan Cohen's hand, which we don't, and why he needed to sell 3.5 million shares, which they did, we don't really know what his plan is. So these people must think that, I suggested to Ryan Cohen, listen, become a Bitcoin bank. Turn the 5,000 different stores you have into welcome to Bitcoin. Affiliate with Coinbase. Make sure that people understand Ethereum and they understand Bitcoin. They understand whatever. They understand the non-fungible properties, the tokens, because they had a chance to do that. They still have a chance to do that. Yeah. I've been begging to do that on both Squawk on the Street and on Mad Money. But you know what? Right now they're just crickets. It's crickets, Donnie. I think that if you buy a stock, you got to at least know what the company's going to do. Well, and we don't know, but they can't just be who they are, because if that's the case, they're worth a quarter of what they sold.
Well, that's why maybe I'm a sort of loser in that equation, but I kind of got worried that if all of a sudden the fundamentals don't make sense anymore, what makes sense? So it was a little bit to me, the inmates taking over the asylum, which, yes, it was a great story. It was a revolution. But if all of a sudden the revolution, to your point, is leading to a place where, well, okay, we just blew up that building. But what are we building and where are we going? Not quite sure. I want to just move on to just the state of the economy now, because you have a great quote I want to read. We're coming out of the pandemic. We still got a ways to go, but I want to read your quote. You go, if you only learn one thing from the pandemic, which you want to remember, that betting on the end of the world is a sucker's game.
I said that for one particular reason. There was a New York Times article. In that article, portrayed me as Otter from Animal House, saying that Cramer basically the usual idiot, Cramer this, Cramer that, moron, believes in science and says that science is going to solve the problem. And that's once again the blowhard otter speaking in front of the court, saying that, whatever it was that he said at Faber College in Animal House. And I read that and I said, what a jackass. I mean, but he'll never pay for it, right? He'll never pay for it. That, whatever his name is, I don't even know. But he basically said that I was a fool for believing in science. I had met the guy who runs Marvell. Runs Moderna, which is this guy Bancel. I know the Pfizer guys, but the Moderna guy, he is just crackerjack. He was telling me, listen, I can use Amazon Web Services basically to unlock a safe and really crack anything. And then he cracked it. And I cannot believe that there are people who seriously bet on the end of the world because they didn't believe the scientists. Donny, makes me sick.
I'm an investor. What should I be thinking about for the next year or so? Are the trees, we hear GDP, where it's going, all the numbers are through the roof. Are the trees going to continue to go through the sky?
No. There's a point. We have this great Fed chief, Jay Powell. He's doing something that no Fed chief has ever done, Donny. He has decided that instead of just thinking about inflation and thinking about putting people to work, he has said that he's looked at the cohort who are unemployed, and they are not the unemployable. That's what they used to say. These are people, largely minorities, who have been left out of the comeback, Donny. He actually used this term. He talked about the minorities. I never heard a Fed chief even remotely have a heart. But Jay Powell believes, I know, like you and I, passionately, that everyone should have an opportunity. And Jay knows if he starts raising rates, then the minorities may not get there. Now, interestingly, under President Trump, the minority hiring was the best ever. So I think Jay Powell's saying, wait a second, it wasn't Trump. It was the economy. We can recreate that economy if we keep rates low. And I salute him. I'm with him. I think that it's time that we start thinking, everyone has to be thinking about this innate discrimination in our society and stop just thinking, well, you know what? Those people couldn't get a job because they didn't work hard, or maybe they're not trying. And it's all nonsense. Everybody deserves a job. Everybody deserves a chance to make a lot of money. And we're not in an equal society. Jay Powell knows that. So I think he's giving people a chance before he tightens it. Amen. And when I hear people coming on our air all the time, and they think Jay's making a big mistake, I think that Jay's trying to correct as best he can hundreds of years of discrimination.
I hear
and
you.
I love that.
I love that
that's
also.
why I love this.
I love that. And you take me right to my next topic, whereas corporate America's responsibility and a lot of companies falling in line. What I have said is, beyond the fact it's the right thing to do from a human point of view, it's smart business at this point. Everybody's customer, who do they want? They want 18 to 34, they want 18 to 49, the young customer. If you're selling beer, if you're selling Coke, if you're selling, automobiles. Young people, for companies today, corporate conscience is critical. They will not buy a product, even if they like the product, if they find that corporate ethos does not line up with their own. How important and how critical, forget even just because it's the right thing to do. You and I come from the heart place. But if you just want to go right to the left brain, you're running a company today. You have no choice. You're not even being brave now. You got to get in there.
You are so right. Now, Fortune put out its list of the most desirable companies to work for. One was Cisco. Two was Salesforce. Salesforce used to be number one. Why? Chuck Robbins has been the leader of Cisco during that period. What is he about? He's about Black Lives Matter. He's about helping the poor. He's about recommending a tax in his area where Cisco is, because he cannot live with himself that people are so rich at the company and so poor in the town. He's about helping the homeless. He's about suggesting to his workforce, look, help people. That's number one. Help people. You're rich. You've made a lot of money. Please help the less fortunate.
Yeah.
Well, then there he is, the number one company to work for. Amazing. Mark Benioff, Salesforce, number two. Business is the greatest force of social change. That's his mantra. That's what he says. That's his brand. Not that Salesforce has the best software. They do. But I've used it. It's amazing. But it's about business as the greatest force of social change. And Donny, when I try to get people to buy a stock, young people, the first thing they ask is, about the environment. What do they do? Well, how are they doing helping the less fortunate? Are the people there doing the right thing, or are they just spoiling the environment? Donnie, if I can say to them, you want to go buy this stock XYZ, they won't buy it unless I answer those questions. So that's why when I recommend a stock on Mad Money, I always include the ethos. What are they doing? How do they feel about the poor? That's one of the reasons why I like Cisco and why I like Salesforce so much. Salesforce, one of the greatest performing stocks of all time, has a leader who has spent more time trying to get things to be changed for the better in this country than any other CEO. And how about the fact that I recommended that stock in 2008 when it was around $5-6, and it's in the Dow Jones Industrial Average is at 230. And all that's happened is that Benioff is the fastest growing software company in the world, but Benioff is deeply committed to making it so the unfortunate have more. I love the guy. I mean, I know this show's not about friends, it's about making money, but Robbins from Cisco, Benioff from Salesforce, they're going to heaven.
And what is the great moral to that story is not, guess what? By doing the right thing, their bottom line is winning. And so that's the good news. Those two things are lining up for the first time in history because, look, we all both know most companies want to be agnostic and, when it comes to things like that. Right now, so whether you're driven from your heart or whether you're driven from the bottom line, it's going to take you to the right place. And we had to get companies to wake up and realize that.
Donnie, we have a chance to do something because we do not play for dinner.
I hear you, brother. I want to talk about, speaking of doing something, our new President Biden. And one of the things that the street loves about him is he's calm. There's no surprises. And, we came off a guy that ironically, who's a business guy. And so obviously as far as regulation and as far as, tax cuts, corporations but they hated the unpredictability. As you know better than anybody, the street hates that. And what we've seen with Biden so far is a firm hand on the wheel, investing in infrastructure, investing in, in coming back with the pandemic package. And the street's got to give him high marks at this point. And I know you met him. You have a great story about meeting him on a train, him introducing you to the conductor. Talk about that, because that gets a little peek into this guy's soul.
Okay, so I see him going down to Washington a lot during that period. I was just finishing a hedge fund game. I was moving into the TV game. I'd probably been on TV with Kudlow and Cramer. I don't know. Larry Kudlow, yeah, the guy from Fox, for about 2 years. And I'm walking down and I see him. And you know what? He's a likable fellow. He's out. So he stops me. He goes, "Hey, Cramer, how you doing?" I said, "Mr. Cramer." I turn around and he was talking to the conductor. And he said, first he introduced the conductor by name. And then he basically said to the guy, "Listen, that was a great round," meaning round of golf. I don't golf, but I know understand a round. And they wanted to set up another date to play, but he wanted to talk to me for a second. And he said, "Can I make any money in the market?" And I said, "Well, what do you own?" And he said, "Well, I really don't own it." I said, "Well, what's your portfolio?" And he said, "Well, I really don't have a portfolio." He says, "It's fact. I'm the poorest man in the Senate. That's what I am. I'm the poorest man in the Senate." And I said to him, I said, "You don't seem to mind that. I mean, you're kind of saying like, hey, I'm the poorest man in the Senate." He said, "Well, I kind of like my title. I like it, poorest man in the Senate, because I'm about trying to help people. I'm not about trying to help myself." You know what's something, Donnie? In our society, if you are the poorest man in the Senate, you got to admit that that's a man who's not trying to make money off of politics. Yeah. And I think he is all about helping people. You know what else, Donnie? You talked about calm. I mean, I don't get surprised by this guy at all. I don't read his Twitter account. He's attacking a guy from United Technologies, now Raytheon. The Twitter feed, he's dumping on Mary Barra. The Twitter feed, what he said about Jay Powell, he was calling Jay Powell like Three Stooges. I was waiting for him to call him a chowderhead. I mean, geez, we don't need Mo, Larry, and Curly in the White House. So, I thought that it was really, the unpredictability was painful. The personal attacks was painful. I screwed up once. I was trying to imitate him to get to the fact that he was making fun of Nancy Pelosi, and people thought I was making fun of Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, I think is sensational. Yeah. And spent her whole life doing good things. And I was like hurt that she was hurt, that I was hurt. And I called her up to apologize after I apologized on air, and I couldn't get it done. It was like a stench on me. All I wanted to do, and I'm not going to say, repeat what he said. I'm not going to make that mistake again because I didn't go to college to get stupid. But I will say this, even by imitating him for a second, without prefacing that I was imitating him, it did sound insulting. And I think the insult era, the insult dog era is over. And I like that.
Jim, what you just said as far as the insult, nice is the new black. That's going to be a theme. And it starts with a commander-in-chief. And that's the we started this conversation with the word zeitgeist. And I think niceness and doing the right thing is going to be chic. I hate to say it that way, but I think that that's where we're at. Hey, we do a thing called brand audits where I'm going to throw out a brand name to you. Now, as I said, a brand could be a person, it could be an institution, it could be a company, a celebrity, and I want you to give me just what you think is there. Lightning round, right? Lightning round. Brand essence. Okay, Nike.
Social conscience.
Pfizer.
Boring.
Jeff Bezos.
Genius.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Painful.
Hedge funds.
Enough.
Zuckerberg.
Trying.
Activist investors.
Unhappy rich people.
You can go more than one word also, by the way. SPACs.
Overdone.
Oh, yeah. Elon Musk.
Crazy good.
Dave Portnoy.
Lovable.
I got to tell you, I'm going to just stop for a second on that guy's brand because I find his brand so fascinating, and actually bulletproof because it's so authentic. Here's a guy who recently a sex tape came out of, and from where and I'm not a Puritan, but I mean, it was pretty nasty, rough stuff and didn't hit him at all because people saw the brand and go, okay, you know what? This guy's about helping small businesses. It's kind of built. He's just authentic. And his response was a great crisis management. It was like, yeah, I have sex. So what? And by the way, I'm still behind Penn Gaming Company and whatnot. So the lesson there, and I draw it back to Donald Trump, and I can't stand Donald Trump. But only that what Trump had was authenticity. And what Portnoy has is authenticity. And he's carving out a tremendous space. You want to just follow businesses. You look at TV networks, the broadcast networks, okay? And they have, on a good night, 4 or 5 million viewers. Barstool Sports has 10, 12, 13 million passionate followers. I don't know why anybody would put an advertising dollar in traditional media again.
I think that not only is authentic, his heart is gigantic. I mean, gigantic. What he's done for small business, what he does in his own way in One Bite, what he says, he came to the Eagles game with me in my box. He's a New England Patriot fan. And I said, look, I got to tell you, if you come into my box and you disgrace me wearing any sort of Patriot outfit, we're playing Tom Brady, I have to kick you out. I just have to kick you out. And I know that's high risk because I know that therefore it's going to be, you're just going to make fun of me the rest of my life. But you can't do it. And by the way, the whole Eagles management knew that he was coming. All they wanted to know is how is he going to solve the dilemma of being a Patriot fan and still being in Cramer's box? My friend Howie Roseman, general manager, he's going to show up in a Patriot jersey. Are you going to kick him out? I said, bodily, I'm going to throw him out. He comes in and he's got a jersey. And it's half New England.
I was going to predict that.
Half Eagles.
I didn't know that. I was going to say he was going to either do that or wear a cap on one or like that. I got that guy's essence. I knew exactly he was going to do that. All right, a few more brands. Fox News.
I'm going to quote what else always said. Powerful.
I just think we're in a dangerous place with them. When I listen to Tucker Carlson and talking about the replacement theory that you're playing to the lowest form of bigotry, and I do going back to the corporate, and I like Lachlan Murdoch. I've known him for a lot of years. I do think there's a humane responsibility at some point when you're running a network at that size.
I agree. Look, you know what? I think there's no free speech for racism. None. Yeah. And I know that's an extreme position. I am proud of my position. No free speech for racism. This is not 1864. By the way, it's also not 1915, where Wilson starts naming all the forts after Confederate generals. Fort Bragg? I mean, really?
Yeah.
Fort Hood?
Yeah.
How about American generals? We were American. But no.
Okay.
Racism,
I hear you, man.
No free speech.
Couple more brands. The police.
Police?
The police. The brand of being a policeman, a police.
I mean, the band or the guys?
Not the band, the guy, just the police force.
I was going to say, I like the police. I mean, wow. I was going to say, still hot.
Right.
The police, unfortunate.
Yeah. My grandfather was a cop, and I always say it this way. In the TV business, 90% of people are good, or 95%, and there are some bad apples and doctors, and same with police. Most policemen, they're putting their lives on the line, they're doing the right thing, and they're going to be some fuck-ups. And unfortunately, it's life and death when you have police fuck-ups, and the stakes are different,
Yes. The reason I say unfortunate, I used to be the head of the police athletic league in Summit.
Yeah.
And, that's basically the liaison in town to the police. And we were lucky. There were no bad apples. And I got a police station right down the block here that's next to our restaurant. And everything that's ever happened has been good. All my interactions with the police have been good, except for one time when I toasted a policeman outside. He pulled me over. He just turned the car around and he said, open bottle rule. And I said, will you give me a break? Come on, let's call the chief. And I had the chief on speed dial. And the chief said, well, that's Cramer. That's Cramer. He's like working his ass off for us. And then the guy apologized. And, my experience is that it is so unfortunate when you listen to this. There's homicide. There was homicide in Minnesota. That was homicide. And again, racist. So that guy has wrecked a lot of people who are good police people's lives.
Yeah.
And made everyone, made so many people think that these guys are from another world and don't belong in the neighborhood. And I think you and I are correct in the sense that the vast percentage, the vast percentage of good people, they just are. These people tend not to know any police.
The George Floyd.
Because I was running PAL, I knew all the police. I also ran, by the way, in PAL, I ran the pet show. I ran the Easter egg hunt. I ran the fishing derby, and I ran the Halloween parade. Migraine
headaches that you yourself are a sufferer. You become a real face of the association. Talk to us about that.
Boy, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I had the misfortune to, people say, well, how much migraine do you have? I was having migraine 27 out of 30 days. And I was going nuts. By the way, you get suicidal when you have migraine because you can't believe how impaired you are. Everybody is different. Your head really hurts, but it's terrible reacting to sound. So let's say I flushed the toilet. I had to run before I flushed, but you can't because that noise was like a volcano going off in my head. We have a dog. He had a dog, Everest. He passed away. But if he barked, I would want to strangle him. And the dishes. When my wife loaded the dishes, I said, please don't please give me a warning. I need to go up 2 floors before the dishes didn't sound like someone putting cymbals off in my head. And then I met Dr. Larry Newman from NYU, and he introduced me to Aimovig, which is a shot that I take once a month, comes tomorrow, and then to Nurtec, which is a pill that dissolves under my tongue. You can put it in your mouth, and it wipes out the migraine in a half hour. So I went from being a guy who had 140 Botox shots right here that did nothing to a guy who's wearing, using Bufferin to being someone who has hope. And I still get them. If it's going to rain, Donnie, I got to put my head in the oven. Not Sylvia Plath, but you know what I mean? It's the figure of speech. And I want to be the person, the apostle for these new medicines, because they spend 1 day in medical school on headaches. One. And headaches are something that if you say you have, people think you're just trying to get out of work. Women suffer more than men. So I'm trying to be the spokesperson that gets everyone to recognize that there are new drugs that nobody seems to know about. When I see someone with migraine, they say, I wish there was something on the market. Damn, Donnie, there's tons on the market. So I am the spokesperson trying to get the word out.
Is there a website? Is there a place for website?
People, Donnie, who are spokespeople, the ones I see, they're paid.
Are there any places? Where should someone? Jim, if someone's listening and they have problems with migraines, is there a website to go to, or is there a place to call? Where would you send them?
American Migraine Foundation.
Okay.
That's website.
Okay.
And you can go to Ready Clinic, a minute clinic, and say that you want to be signed up for Aimovig. If you go to CVS, Oh, Walgreens. Walgreens even better, frankly. If you go to Walgreens and you tell the guy behind the counter, look, I want to get signed up for Aimovig, he will tell you how to do it. Your neighborhood pharmacist, the guy, they're not from the neighborhood, but they can tell you how to do it. So you got to go ask. And I have mine delivered once a month. It's mailed. It's got to be kept cold. That's because I got it through directly from the distributor. That's the way Amgen does it that way. They make aim of it. But Lilly does it so that it's delivered to your drugs, and that's much easier. But I want everyone to do it. And you got to ask these people for Nurtec, which was approved, Nurtec, which was approved about a year ago. They also have a website, and it's made by a company called Biohaven. And it's extraordinary, Donnie. I mean, you can get rid of a migraine headache in 10 minutes.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And people have been hiding under the bed for years. You got to get them out of bed.
I didn't realize you suffered so seriously, so I'm so happy to hear about that. One final plug for you, because I know this is so near and dear to your heart. The Mexican restaurant. Not a lot of people know Jim Cramer is a restaurateur, a Mexican restaurant. Let's send some people there. Tell us about it.
You want passion? It's that.
What's the name of the restaurant?
I sit on the high top.
What's the name of the restaurant?
And I just watch people be happy.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Bar San Miguel. I have a house in San Miguel, Diana. It's Bar San Miguel. I love mezcal. Hey, Donnie, get this. I'm developing my own mezcal.
I love it.
It's to be done. You will be my first person to go to in this because you know brand better than anyone. I'm going to need your help.
I'm going to do it gratis, man, as long as I get free booze. That's all I need. Hey, Jim,
my God, I'm going to be successful in. But anyway, Bar San Miguel's love of my life. I don't know. They haven't told us exactly how many people we can get in. We're about 40% mezcal, 60% tequila because the young people love mezcal. They like the mezcal Negroni. That is the most popular drink. We have every beer, of course, and people like Pacifico more than any other beer. 10 dishes. We might expand it to 12. We have a fantastic cook that we kept on the payroll, Rodrigo. Rodrigo calls me Hefe. All right, I'll take that Hefe. And I just love it so much. It drives my wife crazy that I like it so much.
I love it.
Because it's a fickle business.
Jim Cramer, you are a scholar, you are a gentleman, you are a dear friend. And for our audience out there, because I get to meet a lot of well-known people, Fortune 50 CEOs, heads of states, celebrities, athletes, and this is one of the best guys around. And I think you've been able to do that. Can I just
remember you had to do the lightning round, one word?
Yeah.
Heart.
That's what this guy's got. That's what, at the end of the day, that is Mr. Jim Cramer. He is all heart. Thank you, my dear friend. I appreciate it.
I love you, buddy.
Love you, pal. That's it for our show this week. I want to thank the great Jim Cramer. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review anywhere you get podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, anywhere else. That's right. To subscribe, rate, and review On Brand. Also, you can watch it on YouTube. The video's there. Subscribe, rate, and review there. Hope everybody has a great, safe, healthy week, and we'll see you next week on Brand. Remember, stay on brand. Everybody, thanks for watching. If you like it, hit that subscribe button. And we love having you here watching On Brand. And just don't miss any future episodes. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.